We live in interesting times. Today's stories. Island exile is the latest Danish blow for unwanted migrants. A record $3.1 million paid in New Year's tuna auction at Japan's new market. Djokovic crashes out of Qatar Open. Lima Group countries say they won't recognize new Maduro mandate. The U.S. warns citizens of arbitrary action in China. A wild puma is rescued from a tree in the Chilean capital. Plus, BC Home and Garden Show delights decor and renovation lovers. This is Eagle News Canada, bringing you stories from around the globe. I am Arnie Aquino. Denmark's ruling coalition has approved a controversial plan to put some 125 unwanted migrants on Lindholm, an uninhabited island, sparking outrage at home and abroad. Those selected would live in buildings once used by scientists for research on infectious disease in animals. The proposal has brought thousands of Danes out onto the streets to protest and made headlines around the world. But the measure is part of a clear message from the government to foreigners. Denmark is full and it cannot take any more migrants without jeopardizing its social welfare model. To get that message across, the government has multiplied the obstacles for would-be immigrants and introduced almost 100 amendments restricting the rights of migrants. This proposal is the latest in a long series. The island exile idea was proposed by the populist anti-immigration Danish People's Party, which is not part of the government, but the idea was snapped up by the ruling center-right coalition. A government statement said the unwanted migrants who will live there include those with criminal records in the process of being deported. Others include those already rejected for refugee status but cannot be deported because of security concerns. Controversial Immigration Minister Inger Støjberg of the Conservative Liberal Party, which leads the coalition, put it more bluntly in a Facebook post. Since the 2015 surge in refugees making the perilous Mediterranean crossing into Europe, the Danish government has steadily and vocally hardened its line on immigration. In 2015, the government ran adverts in the Lebanese press warning would-be immigrants that Copenhagen was toughening its conditions. The next year, it approved measures including the confiscation of cash and valuables belonging to migrants, and an extension from 1 year to 3 for family reunification. And it has suspended its participation in the UN Refugee Agency program, under which countries accept a quota of refugees. According to the National Statistics Institute, Denmark has a population of 5.8 million, and 8.5% of them are of non-Western origin. And with elections due next year, the government's aim is clear. Refugees have to know that they cannot stay forever. A Japanese sushi entrepreneur paid a record $3.1 million for a giant tuna at Tokyo's new fish market, which replaced the world-famous Tsukiji late last year, held its first pre-dawn New Year's auction. Bidding stopped at a whopping 333.6 million yen for the enormous 278-kilogram fish, an endangered species that was caught off Japan's northern coast. Self-styled tuna king Kiyoshi Kimura paid the top price, which doubled the previous record of 155 million yen from 2013. Kimura said after the auction, quote, "I bought a good tuna." Tsukiji, the world's biggest fish market and a popular tourist attraction in an area packed with restaurants and shops, moved in October to Toyosu, a former gas plant a bit further east. Opened in 1935, the Tsukiji was best known for its pre-dawn daily auctions of tuna, caught from all corners of the world, for use by everyone from top Michelin star sushi chefs to ordinary grocery stores. Especially at the first auction of the new year, wholesalers and sushi tycoons have been known to pay eye-watering prices for the biggest and best fish. Despite the relocation, the auction ritual remained intact. Before dawn, buyers in rubber boots were inspecting the quality of the giant fresh and frozen tunas by examining the neatly cut tail end with flashlights and rubbing slices between their fingers. At 5:10 a.m., handbells rang to signal the auction was underway and the air filled with the sound of auctioneers yelling prices at buyers who raised fingers to indicate interest.
今日も初競りということで大変注目されているところでございますが、今年大いにこの豊洲市場盛り上がってその象徴となることを大変期待をするところでございます。
The relocation was a lengthy and controversial process. Few would contest the fact that Tsukiji was past its prime, and there were concerns about outdated fire regulations and hygiene controls. In contrast, the new market, located around 2 kilometers to the east at Toyosu, boasts state-of-the-art refrigeration facilities and is nearly twice as big again as Tsukiji. But Toyosu is located on the site of a former gas plant, and the soil was found to be contaminated, forcing local authorities to spend millions of dollars to clean it up and delaying the move. Novak Djokovic lost surprisingly in Doha on Friday, beaten in the Qatar Open semi-final by world number 24. The Serb fell to his first defeat of the season in a high-quality contest lasting more than 2.5 hours, which saw the Spaniard lose his first set of the week but come back to beat the world number 1.
I mean, I wasn't the freshest, but this is what I was looking forward to get from this tournament. As many matches as possible to get ready for Australian Open. So I'm very, very pleased. Obviously, I'm not pleased that I lost the match today, but I lost to a better player in the end, and I have to turn the next page.
Agut took Djokovic's serve in the second game of the final set for the decisive break and secured victory on his first match point. It is the second time he has beaten Djokovic in his career, and both victories occurred in a semi-final. The first came in October 2016 in Shanghai. Djokovic was also world number 1 at that stage. Bautista Agut said Friday's victory was the better of the two. A fired-up Djokovic smashed his racket after dropping his serve in the 8th game of the second set.
Moments, and it happens. It happens. I mean, I want to congratulate him because, especially in the third set, he played really, really well. I thought he was hitting the ball very clean and not making a lot of errors.
Questions may be asked about how tired the Serb was, as he played 2 matches each day for 3 days in singles and doubles prior to Friday's defeat. Including the meeting with Bautista Agut, Djokovic spent almost 10 hours on court in 3 days and played 11 sets in singles matches. The second semi-final proved a much tamer affair. Berdych eased through his second Doha final in straight sets, beating Italy's Marco Cecchinato 7-6. Currently the world number 73, Berdych was once ranked number 4. His previous Qatar Open final in 2015 was also against a Spaniard, David Ferrer. It ended in a straight sets defeat.
Both singles and doubles, playing with my brother obviously is a pleasure, but also you care a lot. I care playing with him more than with anybody else, so that's why it took a lot out of me emotionally. But I don't think it affected me negatively too much prior to this match. As I said, I was very close to win the match, so few points decided a winner, and he was the one.
The match playing very good, and he was very solid, and surprised me a little bit his level at the beginning of the match, but I was keeping my concentration. I was trying to turn the score, and I had to play unbelievable to make the break on the second set, and it was an unbelievable second set. I think until the last point was very good tennis on the court. And
up next, Lima Group countries say they won't recognize a new Maduro mandate. U.S. warns citizens of arbitrary action in China. A wild puma is recognized from a tree in the Chilean capital. These and more when Eagle News Canada returns. We will be right back.
As Eagle Broadcasting Corporation marks its 50th year, it is conducting several activities under the theme EBC Cares, enabling a better community. Health and nutrition are key factors on child's learning and well-being. EBC's feeding program encourages the community to combat malnutrition among children and ensure them a healthy future. EBC's cleanup drive and citronella planting hopes to help the community in caring for the environment and preventing diseases such as dengue. EBC's public service program, Paglilingkod sa Bayan, Serbisyo para sa Mamamayan, has opened its doors to government agencies so more people can avail of these services. EBC's blood donation program and medical mission continue to spearhead life-saving projects, and EBC's livelihood seminar teaches and guides those who want to have additional income and business. EBC Cares, serving the people in these interesting times.
ASEAN in Focus, Monday to Friday, 2 to 2:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News Canada. Foreign ministers from 12 Latin American countries and Canada said that their governments would not recognize Nicolas Maduro as Venezuela's president when he is sworn in for a second 6-year term. The 14-member Lima Group, with the exception of Mexico, said it would not recognize Maduro's hardline socialist government after meeting in the Peruvian capital to discuss ways to step up international pressure on the regime, which has presided over the oil-rich country's economic crisis. Peru's Foreign Minister Nestor Popolizio said the group had delivered a strong political message ahead of Maduro's second-term inauguration on January 10. The group, which includes Canada, said Maduro should temporarily transfer power to the National Assembly until free elections can be held. Officials said earlier that U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo would participate in the meeting by video conference, even though Washington is not a member of the 14-nation body. According to an agenda released by Araujo's office, Pompeo also was to hold bilateral talks with Brazil's new Foreign Minister Ernesto Araujo on the sidelines of the meeting, also by video conference. The arrival in power of a new far-right government in Brazil under President Jair Bolsonaro is likely to harden regional opposition to Maduro. Bolsonaro, who has aligned himself with Washington by expressing hostility towards authoritarian regimes, said he was open to discussing his country's hosting a U.S. military base in the future. Venezuela recently hosted the Russian Air Force, including long-range nuclear bombers, for joint military exercises, a move that stoked regional tensions. The United States warned its citizens that they could face arbitrary action by authorities when they visit China, following the detention of a number of Canadians. Updating a travel advisory, the State Department maintained its previous guidance that Americans should exercise increased caution in China but stop short of discouraging visits. While the language was largely the same as earlier, the State Department warned of arbitrary enforcement of local laws, sudden prohibition on exiting the country, and harassment of U.S. citizens of Chinese heritage. It said, in most cases, U.S. citizens only became aware of the exit ban when they attempt to depart China, and there is no method to find out how long the ban may continue. It said U.S. citizens under exit bans have been harassed and threatened. It also advised Americans to look out for last-minute security checks and curfews in Xinjiang and Tibet, two minority-dominated regions where Beijing has sought to impose strict control. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo also about the updated advisory in a televised interview said the State Department wanted Americans to understand the risk but still travel there when it's appropriate. According to Ottawa, China has detained 13 Canadians since early December when a senior executive of Chinese telecom giant Huawei was arrested in Vancouver on a U.S. request for alleged violations of Washington's sanctions on Iran. Two of the arrests of former diplomat Michael Kovrig and consultant Michael Spavor were widely viewed as retaliation for the arrest of Huawei Chief Financial Officer Meng Wanzhou, who was facing extradition to the United States. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lu Kang hit back at a regular press briefing in Beijing.
希望在华的外国公民要遵守中国的法律。在这儿呢，我想指出，对极少数涉嫌在华违法犯罪的外国公民，中国办案机关始终坚持依法公正处理，并依法保障他们的各项合法权益。美方发布的这个旅行提示，坦率地讲是经不起推敲的。近年来，美方以各种理由借口对中国公民入境美国设置障碍，无端进行检查。这个呢是美方应该重视和纠正的问题。我们还是希望美方能够多做一些有利于促进两国人民交往，和互信的事情，而不是相反。
China last year appeared to hit back at the U.S. travel advice by issuing its own guidance to Chinese coming to the U.S., warning of the risk of mass shootings and the high costs of healthcare. Despite rising political friction, the two countries remain among the top sources of visitors to each other, with China by far the largest provider of foreign students to the United States.
想强调一下，中国是法治国家，中国依法维护在华外国公民的安全与合法权益。至于你提到的点了名字的这两个人，我们在这已经多次说过，这两个加拿大公民是因为涉嫌从事了违反危害中国国家安全的活动，而被依法采取了强制措施。
The zoo in charge of the operation said a wild puma kept watch over a neighborhood of Chile's capital Santiago for 15 hours in a tree before it was rescued. The young male puma, which weighs around 30 kilograms, was first seen up a huge tree on Wednesday afternoon in the El Araya neighborhood. He remained there practically without moving until he was shot with a tranquilizer dart by the Agriculture and Livestock Service, after which he fell 18 meters onto cushions, his drop also slowed by branches. Alejandra Montalba, director at the city's Metropolitan Zoo, which oversaw the rescue operation, told local media it was the best scenario. It was a low-risk fall. Following the rescue, the puma was taken to the Santiago Zoo, although it is due to be released back into the wild at a later date. Montalba said the puma climbed the tree because he was very scared, as there were dogs and many people. He wasn't going to come down alone. Montalba said it is unclear why the puma found itself in an urban zone, but with the growth of Santiago into the surrounding foothills of the Andes, sightings of wild animals in built-up areas are becoming ever more common. Pumas, also known as cougars, mountain lions, panthers, and catamounts, are large wild cats native to the Americas and can be found from Canada's northwest Yukon Territory all the way down to the southern Andes. Fully grown males average just over 60 kilograms but can weigh up to 100 kilograms and can stand up to 90 centimeters tall. Coming up, the BC Home and Garden Show delights decor and renovation lovers. Eagle News Canada will return shortly.
na ang araw kasama ang buong barkada ng pambansang almusal. Kami na ang bahala sa masarap niyong almusal kung saan matututo tayong magluto ng easy, delicious, and affordable recipes kasama ang ating guest chefs.
Siyempre, I want it medyo healthy pa rin, na wala tayong masyadong fats or skin ng ating chicken.
Of course, meron din tayong family notes where we share tips and ideas on how to make our family happier and stronger.
Dapat marunong tayo mag-open up, di ba? Lalo na sa ating parents.
Tandaan, discipline should focus on teaching, not punishing.
Yes.
Ihahain din namin sa inyo ang maiinit na balita at mahahalagang impormasyon.
Para po yun sa ikabubuti ng ating kapaligiran.
Ano yung journey natin towards the 100 years?
Kaya naman, tutok na sa nag-iisang values-oriented morning show.
Pambansang Almusal!
Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 5 hanggang alas 7 ng umaga, dito lang sa Net 25.
Ang Pambansang Almusal, Pambansang Almusal.
Pep News, Linggo, alas 4 hanggang alas 5 ng hapon.
This is Eagle News Canada. I am Arnie Aquino. The BC Home and Garden Show delights enthusiasts with inspiring new decor and renovation ideas. Archie Rose Natividad reports. Archie?
If you are a fan of HGTV or any home decor and reno show, we got a treat for you. We are here at BC Place Stadium for the BC Home and Garden Show. This 5-day event hosts over 400 exhibitors where you can check out a variety of things for your home. We're even going to step into Tiny Homes Village to check out an assortment of small homes featured in this event. Take a look.
Yeah, so this is the BC Home and Garden Show, and it's a little bit of everything. We have your garden needs, your landscape, your kitchen design, interior decorators, you know, any and all inspiration for your home and garden. We have some tiny homes, which people are really excited about. Those are brought here by Mint Tiny Home Company, and there's 3 of them on display, and they're all a little bit different, and those are very cool and exciting. We have various garden displays from different companies, kind of showcasing what you can do with your outdoor space in different types of styles. We have container pools, which everybody loves to look at. We have DIY inspiration things upstairs. We have food demonstrations and cooking demos, a lot of stuff, a little bit of everything.
Recently, there has been a rising movement in living a minimalist lifestyle, where homeowners choose to declutter or downsize their homes, even choosing to decrease their square footage.
I think people are really inspired about the idea of minimalizing clutter and stuff like that, so maybe you could say that that would be a trend this year. People are trying to cut back on all that extra stuff in their lives, so the mini homes have definitely been really popular.
Vancouver is known for its high prices in the real estate market, hitting the books with record-breaking sales in comparison to the rest of Canada, which is why tiny homes have become a solution to Vancouver's very expensive problem.
So as you can see here, these are all tiny home RVs. So these are all built directly on the wheels. You can take them anywhere, which is kind of part of the beauty of them. They offer a lot of freedom, basically.
Living in a tiny home offers plenty of benefits for families to enjoy.
They're finding that them and their children are getting outside more. Not only that, like you're living in them with say you have a small family, like say 2 of you and a child, right? You're finding that you're almost communicating a little bit better because you're in a smaller space, so you kind of have to. And that sort of goes back to like the older days when everybody was in smaller spaces. Yeah, we're finding people are kind of coming together a little bit more and as families, you know.
Whether you are looking to do a home renovation or simply a fan of interior design, the BC Home and Garden Show is the place to be. Reporting from the BC Place Stadium in Vancouver, I'm Archie Rose Natividad, and I am one with 25.
Thanks, Archie. That is this week's Eagle News Canada. Join us next week for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at Eaglenews.PH and Eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. Thank you for watching. I am Arnie Aquino, M1 with 25.